Hello everyone and welcome to the Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot Breakdown. The meta continues to change slightly throughout all the tiers that aren't Tier 1. The first one continues to feature only one deck, as Combo Priest is so far ahead of the rest of the meta. Luckily for those who are finding themselves tired of the current meta, Blizzard will be releasing unspecified wildcards into Standard to try to spice things up a little bit. This is something that's never been done before and is sure to shake up the meta. We here at Tempo Storm are excited to see how this will change the metagame, but before that begins, we would like to take a look at this meta one last time. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to our channel to keep up with the rest of our Hearthstone content. As we mentioned before, Combo Priest is the deck that has taken over ladder and is dominating the majority of other decks. Combo Priest has made the meta into its personal playground and is running around bullying all of the other kids. Combo Priest will not let go of the hold it has on the meta, and until the wildcards are added to the game, this will continue to be the only Tier 1 deck. Combo Priest can take over the game in a turn or two, making it a really reliable deck to play if you're encountering a lot of passive decks on ladder. An example of this is Quest Druid, as it typically passes its first few turns, and this can be enough for Combo Priest to run away with the game. As for bad matchups, Combo Priest typically looks to avoid decks such as Merlok Shaman, as they can take the board hyper-aggressively, and even if they lose it, they can sometimes come back with randomly generated spells. Tier 2 is significantly larger than the first tier, featuring 10 decks in this snapshot. While we're surprised at how many decks are in this tier, it makes sense seeing how similar in power they truly are. This tier has a deck for everyone, so be sure to try some of them out. Today, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the top 4 decks of this tier, starting with Aggro Shaman. This deck has climbed up the Tier 2 ladder quite a bit recently thanks to a new list from Jombre HS. This list runs an aggressive Merlok shell for the earlier turns of the game, alongside the Overload package. Thanks to both of these tools, the Shaman can aggressively take the board. Afterwards, it aims to close out the game or tries to generate a larger board. Aggro Shaman is a fairly good deck against Combo Priest, as it has a lot of the tools to keep the priest off of the board, while developing its own using its cheap minions. It's also really hard for the priest to remove Thunderhead, allowing the Shaman to keep its grip on the game state. As you'd expect, Aggro Shaman has a horrendous matchup against Control Warrior, as the Warrior's deck is built to beat up on aggressive board-based decks, and this is no exception. Next up in Tier 2 is another form of Shaman with Merlok Shaman. While Merlok Shaman is a bit worse against decks with board clears, it has the ability to close out games much faster and make much more durable board states. If a Merlok Shaman gets ahead for a turn or two, the game is likely over. Thanks to this, Merlok Shaman performs very well against Quest Druid, as the Druid passing the first few turns allows the Shaman to take over and close out the game. As with the other Shaman deck, Merlok Shaman struggles immensely against Control Warrior, as it can't really keep a hold of the board, making it nearly impossible for the Shaman to do anything. Following the Shaman archetypes in Tier 2 is Control Warrior. This archetype has found itself falling and climbing the tier list recently, but seems to have cemented itself towards the top of Tier 2. It's an extremely versatile deck, and unlike many control decks in previous years, it can even win games by pressuring out the opponent occasionally. Control Warrior can be a huge threat in the hands of a skilled player. As you would want from a control deck, this archetype can really beat up on aggressive decks such as previously mentioned Shaman decks or Tempo Rogue. When it comes to bad matchups, Control Warrior has a hard time beating Highlander Hunter, as the Hunter can outpressure the Warrior while continually making difficult boards for the Warrior to clear. On top of this, Rat Trap can be hard for the Warrior to deal with, as Warpath will almost always activate it. The final deck we'll be looking at in today's Meta Snapshot Breakdown is Highlander Hunter. This archetype has one of the best early game curves, where when it draws Secret Keeper into a secret, you have an insanely high win rate. Sadly, the archetype can struggle when it misses the curve, but thanks to Hunter's versatile arsenal of cards, it can typically find wins where needed. This deck has a good matchup against some of the better decks in the game, such as Combo Priest and Control Warrior. It struggles against aggressive decks such as Aggro or Merlok Shaman, as they can take the board super aggressively and can play around the Hunter's secrets fairly easily. In conclusion, the meta has changed a bit, but is starting to feel stale, so the addition of wildcards being added to the game is looking to be promising. Assuming the cards that are added are competitive in nature, the game will likely shake up quite a bit and will give players a place to experiment with new things. Thank you for watching our Tempo Storm Standard Meta Snapshot Breakdown. We hope this video helped you gain a better understanding of the meta. Let us know in the comments below what cards you're hoping to make a comeback to Standard when Blizzard rotates in the wild cards. Make sure to subscribe to this channel to keep up with the rest of our Hearthstone content, and we'll see you next time.